it's definitely distorting AF. This one mistake can ruin your whole recording session, and it is way too common. Recently, I had a session with a super dope producer, but recording vocals was not something he does often. So he's recording me, and I'm getting into it. We get several takes, and then I come out of the booth, and it's time to comp the vocals, and I finally hear it. They're all blown out. It sounds like I'm singing through a guitar amp, or my mic is totally broken. The vocals were recorded way too loud, causing a permanent sound called peaking, clipping, or distortion. What's even worse is sometimes I mix vocals for others and they send me their completed entire song like this. It's way more common than you'd think, and we need to stop this behavior right now. You cannot fix vocals that were recorded too loud. I'm going to show you how to prevent this, but another thing you want to avoid at the same time is vocals being too quiet. Yes, you can make quiet vocals louder, but it's not ideal to record too quiet because when you turn them up, you also turn up possible background noise, and there's even a possibility to turn up some electrical sound that is usually not audible unless you really need to push a quiet vocal to make it louder. So let's find the sweet spot so you never have to deal with crunchy vocals again. Number one, we'll go through how to set your gain level correctly. Number two, I'll show you what I would do if I were absolutely stuck with distorted vocals and we can't re-record. And number three, I'll address other issues you might be having if you're hearing similar noise that isn't necessarily gain level issues. I'm Kimera, vocal producer and Pro Tools expert, and hopefully my troubleshooting videos have helped you, as well as my videos where I run my vocals through plugins so you can hear it before you buy it. Okay, setting input levels is the real key, also known as setting your gain level. It has nothing to do with pulling these volume sliders up and down. It's how much your interface will amplify the audio that comes through the microphone, okay? How much your interface will amplify the audio that comes through the microphone. And we control that with a knob. If the audio coming through your microphone is already loud, like you're belting, you won't need your gain level too high. But if you're singing a lot softer, you will compensate by turning the gain level up. So how do we set that level? It might look different for you based on whether you're using an interface or if you're recording straight into your laptop mic. You can ignore the fact that I'm using Pro Tools. This information is relevant for any recording software. If you are using an interface, it's the piece of hardware where you plug your mic into and then that goes into your computer. It will have a knob on it that says gain, input, input 1, mic, or even just the number 1. 1 would mean that you have an interface that has 2 inputs, so you could plug 2 microphones in. So whichever port you're plugging that mic into, it will have a corresponding knob that'll say 1 or 2 on it. My primary mic is actually in that booth. It's plugged into mic input 1, and this mic that I'm using today is plugged into mic 2, so I'm going to be turning the 2 gain knob. If you're not using an interface and you're recording right into your laptop or a headphone with a mic on it, the input gain is essentially your computer's input level under settings. Here I am on a Mac, so I'll just go to settings, sound, and click input, and make sure I have it set to internal mic. Then it gives me this slider. This is like your input knob. You can dial it back right here. If you are recording into a phone, whatever software you're using might have their own way of automatically setting the level within their app. So look up how to set gain level in that specific app on mobile. iPhone itself doesn't let you change the general input of your level. So if you're just talking to someone on the phone and you start screaming, it's probably gonna start distorting, and we have no control over that input level. For today's video though, I'm gonna show you how to set level using my interface. I use the Symphony Desktop by Apogee, and it has this software called Apogee Control 2, which I love so much because I can not only turn the physical knob on the device, I can actually turn it in the software, which I'm about to show you, and it communicates right with Pro Tools for me. In your software, you'll have to set your vocal recording track to record armed. Great, now we have signal. You'll also have to double check that the input of your track is set to the correct input. Again, mine is on input 2. Your system might say something slightly different, like mic 1, mic 2. It's usually one of the first 2 options. Also, don't forget to make sure your DAW is set to the correct playback engine. Here's where it is in Pro Tools. The playback engine right here, I'm using Pro Tools Aggregate for the moment because I'm screen recording, but normally this is set to my Symphony Desktop. I have a whole different video for what to do if you're not seeing any mic signal, so check that out if that's your problem. Okay, so see right here, I have some green signal that's picking up my voice through the mic. When setting levels in the studio, I remember so many producers would just say, just sing something, I'm setting your level, right? But at this point, you're not warmed up yet, you're not really catching the vibe, so you kind of just like half-ass it and just sing a little something. If that is the level that they go off of and set your levels to, I can almost guarantee you're going to distort later. You specifically want to sing the loudest part of your song at the full performance energy and set your level based off of that. So no matter what, when you get super hype with it, your interface will not over amplify your audio signal. All right, so let's set my level. And here is that software I was talking about, Apogee Control. I'm coming into channel 2. Yeah, that's pretty much a perfect level right there. I am staying in the green and it's a little high, but it's not going into the yellow. Let's push it to high and see what that looks like. See how it just turned a little orangey? We do not want that. Green means go, anything else means no. I just made that up. Anytime you start going into the yellowish orange, you do risk distorting. Technically, you might not until it hits the red, but don't let any producer tell you that that's okay. You can hear it, it's definitely distorting AF. But again, we can't fix that afterwards. So we definitely want to keep it at a place where we can control the sound later. Now, something else that can happen is you might set your level perfectly. You might even set it quiet, but you still hear distortion. You look at the meter, it's not even going in the yellow and you still hear it, right? If that happens, it's actually your microphone that's distorting. And the solution to that is to just back up a little bit further. I'm sure you're wondering though, what if you do the verses way quieter than the chorus or the ad-libs? Do I change my gain level for those different parts? Honestly, I hear mixed opinions on this. It's not the best habit to be changing levels throughout a recording session, but it might be necessary if the levels are drastically different. So if they are, and you feel like you do need to change the gain level, I recommend that you do it only one time. So record all the softer parts of your song first, so you have those vocals complete, and everywhere in the song that you're singing at that softer level, there's a consistent gain level. Then when it's time to go sing the loud stuff, you change the gain level one time and all your loud stuff is the same gain level. This will ensure a more consistent sound and make it easier to mix. Another thing we do with gain levels that shows up in the mixing process is called gain staging, because when we're singing, we're dynamic and our levels are going up and down. Compressor plugins help to even out that difference, but if we do what's called gain staging to level it out manually, it'll make mixing much easier and our plugins can perform at their best. But if you do it wrong, you can also kill the dynamic feeling in your mix. So drop a comment and let me know if you want a video on gain staging. Okay, let's look at what I would do if I was actually forced to use a vocal that is distorting. Maybe someone sends you a mix session and you have to use those vocals. They're distorting, but you have to figure out how to make it work. Here's what I would do. And so let me just record something super quick. Like way-oh, 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 way-oh. So what I would do in this case is use plugins to make this feel almost like a stylistic, intentional mixing technique. And for that, I am going to actually add more distortion so it sounds super intentional. Let's use Sound Toys Decapitator. Love this one. Like way-oh, 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 way-oh. You can hear the distortion is consistent now, so it sounds like we did it on purpose. I'm not mad at the way this sounds, so that is a potential solution, but it is a very distinct stylistic vibe that probably won't work in every genre, so please just try not to use distorted vocals, period. Lastly, there's a chance you're hearing some noise in your recording that isn't necessarily a gain issue. Here's a few things it could be. Number one, likely you've got a plugin on that is killing it for you. To identify which plugin it could be, I recommend going through and turning them off one by one and then listening. If you hear it resolve, then you figured out which one is causing the problem. Either leave it off or set that back to factory default and tweak it again. Chances are you probably don't need to be as dramatic with the way you adjust these plugins. A little bit goes a long way. 9 times out of 10, it's some kind of compression plugin that you played with a little too much. Most plugins have an output knob or makeup gain. You could dial those knobs back on all your plugins so they're not all boosting the signal like crazy. Number 2, you might have a bad cable or even your microphone could be broken. The best way to rule this out is to test it with a different cable or a different mic. Maybe you have one or you could borrow one from a friend just to figure it out. Number 3, you might have a lot of plugins on and your hardware buffer size is super low. If it is set to anything under 128, That's too low. Try more like 256 and up. Number 4, the room you're recording in might have electrical hum in it. If you are silent, do you hear a little hum in your room? If so, the mic will too. Unfortunately, this isn't always fixable, but you can try to use a graphic EQ to find the frequency of that hum and notch it out, or use a noise reduction plugin like Ozone RX or Auto-Tune Vocal Prep. You might even be getting electrical interference due to too many things plugged into a nearby outlet. Try moving those plugs around, or you might need to use a high-quality power conditioner strip. I use Furman and I love them. Look, bad distortion kills good takes. Now that you know how to prevent it, you'll never need to deal with this headache again. Please hit subscribe if this was helpful. I've got many more helpful vocal recording videos for you to check out in this playlist, so click here and I will see you over there.